Hey friends, welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Katie Mast, Director of Community at Rock Paper Coin, and you are tuned in to RPC Money Talks, our monthly webinar series where we get honest and real about what it takes to run a real business in 2026. If we haven't met before, we are a real simple payment platform built for small business owners just like you that's designed to make invoicing, contracts, and payments easy and affordable, just like they should be. I'm thrilled to be hosting this chat today. And the truth is, we know everyone is using AI, but deep down, we know everyone's content is also starting to sound weirdly identical. And the goal of this webinar is not to shame anyone who is cranking out all their tasks to AI, but instead, we want to teach you how to stop using it to work against you and your business, because unfortunately, right now, it most likely is. But don't worry, Jess is here to do just that because she has dedicated the time to learning this space inside and out. And I am so excited about everything we're going to learn from her today. Hello, my friend. I'm so excited that you're here with us.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here, and this is a topic that I love so much, so I absolutely can't wait to dive in.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Jess, will you get us started by telling us a little more about you and why it was so important for you to be here and talk with us about this topic today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just pop some slides on the screen. I'm a very visual person, so I love having something interesting to look at while someone's chatting. So, hi, my name is Jess. I am a copywriter, marketer, and content creator, and I have been in copywriting and marketing for about 10 years now. Content creator is something a bit more recent. I've been posting content online for the past year after 7 years of procrastinating and feeling really stuck, getting in my own way, making all the excuses. And one huge thing that's made the difference for me over the past year to help me, become really consistent with putting myself out there, it has been AI. It's helped me to double my income in 6 months, grow over 50,000 followers across platforms in just 1 year. It's landed me some really cool opportunities like working with OpenAI, huge companies like GoDaddy. I've been featured in publications like Business Insider and USA Today. And I really credit so many of these opportunities and people finding me with really using AI. First of all, like I said, to help me get out of my own way and kind of beat this awful procrastination that was holding me so far back for so many years. But also to help me with creating content in a really special way without it, taking my voice, my authenticity, and what I'm all about as a creator and a business and a small business owner myself. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It really matters to me that I talk about this because I feel like as a copywriter, I really got into the AI, into the flow of using AI very, very early on. And I was using it, for 8 hours a day, I think, really very, very early on of this kind of wave of adoption. Now I know it's part of pretty much every business owner's day to day. And what I started noticing really early on, before anyone kind of was really picking up on these small AI writing patterns that kept coming up over and over again, and all this AI generated copy I was working with, and all this content that I was generating for myself and for clients I work with as a copywriter. And I was noticing these patterns that kept repeating themselves. And I started talking about it online, and people resonated. At
Mm.
first, people were really surprised, but now I'm seeing more and more people as we all are exposed to more AI generated writing, AI generated content, these patterns and repeated AI giveaways and, these icky things that we're starting to see are becoming more and more noticeable to everyone. And that is only going to continue increasing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I completely agree. Well, let's start with the elephant in the room. And what's the difference between ChatGPT and Claude? And is there one that's better for small business owners to be using?
Absolutely. Okay, so there's a few nuances to this question now because I feel like at the beginning, we were all talking about what's the best AI model that I should be using as a small business owner. And I know that everyone was on the ChatGPT train, and more recently, everyone's been moving over to Claude on Mast because it is such an amazing tool. But I do feel like at this point, these AI models, and there are others, of course, like Gemini as well, Grok, perhaps a bit less common, but it's still there. These AI models are becoming so good that it's becoming less of an important question to ask which is the most important AI model for me to use. I think you have to find the model that has features that really apply to your business and what you're trying to achieve in your business. Personally, with ChatGPT, I love it for visuals. So we're going to talk a lot about how to generate amazing visuals with ChatGPT's new Image 2.0 model for your business. I also love the voice feature, so I tend to prefer the app for ChatGPT. I don't know why. I like to talk back and forth with it, and I tend to use it more for personal chats. If I'm in the kitchen and I need a recipe, for example, I tend to reach for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And they are constantly improving. So they are really, I would say, neck and neck with Claude, except they're differing in certain features that they offer. With Claude, I personally find, and I know that a lot of people do as well, it's superior for writing and creativity. It tends to have less of that AI, repeated writing pattern that we're starting to notice and get annoyed by. But again, ChatGPT is also getting better at this. However, I find Claude to be a bit better. There are also really powerful features in Claude, like Claude Project, which is also available in ChatGPT as well. Artifacts, so Claude can create presentations for you. It can create slides, HTML websites. It can create PDFs. And then there are newer tools like Claude Design, which is super powerful for designing elements like app interfaces, websites, etc. And Claude Code, which is a bit more advanced. I also find that Claude is a bit better at complex thinking, handling deep work, strategy. So I tend to like to use it more for my business, and then kind of keeping ChatGPT a bit more on the personal side plus image generation. Now, there is a more important chat as well that we need to have, which is within Claude, there are two features that are important for us to use, Claude Chat and Claude Cowork. Claude Chat is really what we're all thinking when we think chatting back and forth with AI, a bit like ChatGPT. So you give it a prompt and it gives you a reply. With Claude Cowork is where we can really tap into automating tasks for our business and kind of being able to take our hands off and having scheduled tasks that happen every single day. The beauty of Claude is that you can obviously connect it to a lot of your other softwares that you might be using, for example, like your Google email, your Google Calendar. So Claude Cowork can be pulling a morning report for you that kind of tells you what's on your schedule. If you're a wedding planner, for example, what couples are you meeting with today? It can pull information from other softwares like Notion, for example, or Google Drive, and prepare you a report for talking points for your meetings with those couples. We're going to talk a bit more about Claude Cowork as well in this meeting. And I also have a guide called Voice Match that we're going to share with this replay as well that kind of walks you through how to personalize Claude Cowork so that when it's generating results for you, they are in your voice and you don't have to keep telling it all the time and fixing all these, AI outputs that don't sound like you, because there's so much power in doing this once and then being able to automate so many things you never even thought of before.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, this is going to be a session that people go back to and watch over and over and over again. This is not a
Hope
one
so.
and done, like, don't listen to this while you're, washing dishes or doing laundry or doing anything like that. This is going to be one that people are going to come back to because AI is everywhere and people are writing everything with it. They are writing captions and emails and blogs and they're building, as you said, their entire websites, right? And they're about us sections, things that used to be very, very personal and that you would take a very long time to write. They're throwing into AI and they're writing it. But to our point, like you can tell because you can feel when someone stops thinking and starts outsourcing their personality. And this is an exact reminder that AI should help you think deeper, not avoid thinking altogether. And since you know AI so well, and maybe other people, it's not so obvious what was written with AI and what wasn't. But since you do, what are some obvious giveaways that someone wrote something with AI beyond the M dashes and the emojis and certain, telltale giveaways? How do you tell? How do you get that
Absolutely.
ick?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there are two levels to this. One of them being these AI writing patterns. So things we can spot easily that AI just does over and over again. And then there's a deeper level, which is obviously it doesn't know you, it's not living your life. But we're going to talk a bit about more about that in this session. First, I'm going to touch on this kind of more surface level, which are these AI writing giveaways, AI writing patterns. And I've got a fun way to do this. We're going to do a drinking game. Whatever drink you've got, whether that's wine or it's tea, coffee, or water, or a margarita, whatever you've got with you, let's do it. I love thinking about this, like when you scroll through LinkedIn being one of the biggest perpetrators of these issues. A lot of people are, publishing so much content without kind of going through and really changing the way they're expressing their content to align more with how they personally speak and express themselves. So let's go with the first level of these. Some of them you might have noticed, and some of them I'm going to tell you, and then you're not going to be able to not see them again. They're going to jump out at you. The first being an overuse of the word quietly. So she quietly launched a business, they quietly released this new offer. And it's like, no one's doing anything quietly anymore, let's face it. Otherwise, no one would know about it. So, I've noticed that this comes up a lot and it's kind of unnecessary. And this is what we notice with AI is that it's applying these patterns. But if you were writing that content or creating that content, you wouldn't really use these phrases so frequently. The
Yeah.
second one is similar to quietly is honestly. And honestly, question mark. And then it kind of makes a point. It's like, well, I hope you're being honest. You don't need to tell me every three sentences, I'll believe you. This kind of fake vulnerability, rather than the real vulnerability that we as business owners can bring into our content. Number three, we've mentioned, which is the M dash. I know a lot of people have started to notice this. It's the long dash that's used quite frequently in sentences, and it's kind of become a bit of a giveaway. Of course, you can still use M dashes. And of course, a lot of what I'm mentioning, we use as humans in our own writing and content. It's just when you start noticing that AI is writing in a pattern and these things are being repeated constantly that it becomes an ick and a giveaway that you're not really putting your own authentic thoughts into your content. Um, Number four, I'm not sure if a lot of people have noticed this yet, is that AI tends to always default to numbers that end in seven. So it will say, for example, running a business feels like having 57 tabs open in your mind. And it always tends to do this. So I just have a rule where I change it to anything that's not ending in seven.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know and you'll notice this so much. It's also, for example, when I work with AI to create a piece of content that gives tips, it will always default to seven tips. And then I go through those seven tips and sometimes you'll notice, I have more tips to give. I have less tips to give. This is what I mean is when you're then going through that content and really noticing it's defaulting to wanting to put everything into a pattern of seven, whereas I have, more that I want to say, for example.
Yeah.
Number five, I know a lot of people are starting to notice this more and more. I've seen more people talk about this online. It's not about X, it's about Y. It's
Hmm.
not about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's not about profit, it's about passion. So, yeah, AI does this kind of comparison thing that we are seeing more and more. And there are more natural ways to say the point you're trying to say. Number six, again, is this overuse of corporate jargon. And I think, we do tend to default sometimes to wanting to sound more clever or more established and more serious and trustworthy as business owners. But really, when you're trying to attract new clients, what they're trying to understand is who you are as a business owner behind the facade. And actually, when we think about it, we don't really understand what these words even mean. They don't really speak to you like if you think about it on a deep level. So it's often, unless you're really in a corporate environment, better to just avoid them and say what it does on the tin. Use the simple expression for everything.
Yeah.
Overuse of the rule of three is also very common. Again, humans do this, I know. It's just if you have four important points to make, again, AI will always default to three. Number eight, it's always starting sentences with these short rhetorical questions. The catch, the kicker, the brutal truth, the truth, question mark. I don't know if you've noticed this, Katie. It's I notice it all the time now, and I'm always deleting them.
Yes.
Just make the point you're trying to make.
Yeah. Just get to it. Like, yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Number nine is that it overly uses short, punchy, dramatic sentences, and it just doesn't feel, natural. And people can tell when they're reading something.
Yeah.
Again, really try to infuse my natural speaking style and cadence into it. So when I read through AI generated content, I think, no, I would never structure this like this. I would rather have a long and flowing sentence here, for example.
Yeah.
And number 10, which we're going to dive a bit more into, is this Wikipedia voice, this kind of everything is factual and balanced, and there's none of the messiness and authenticity and fun that we bring in as human business owners.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, cheers to that, my friend. I love
Cheers, cheers,
this.
cheers.
I love this drinking game. And you're in Europe, so it is 5 o'clock somewhere. Like,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I love this. This is great. I have a feeling we're going to see some tags on this because I think people are really going to resonate with this. And it's true. I think, it's as business owners, we're almost trained to just trust our processes and trust our systems and believe that we've done a good enough job of telling it what it is that we want it to do, that if it's giving us the information, it must be right, it must be factual, it must be built just for me. And then it's so funny because you could put out something that doesn't sound like you at all, but you stand confidently behind you because this tool you're paying for did it. But then you can easily go read somebody else's post 2 minutes later and say, that doesn't sound like them at all. Like, so it is really funny how seeing it visually broken down into, hey, almost like a checklist of, does your content do this? Is it sounding like this? Is how it's currently feeling? I think this is going to be a really great tool for people to be able to use and kind of almost cross check what it is that they're putting out. So thank you for that. I'm curious if someone just downloaded Claude today, because I know a lot of people are on the ChatGPT train. If someone just downloads Claude today, what's the first thing that you want them to do with it?
Okay, so there are many, many things, but I think it's really valuable with Claude to start at the essentials and make sure your account is set up in the best way possible. So number one is to download the desktop app and use the app because it has so many more features than just using Claude in your browser. Number two is to go to settings, capabilities, and make sure your memory from chat history is toggled on. This is how Claude starts to learn about you and build a profile on you so that it can recall things you might have discussed in other chats or a week ago. So it's really useful to have this turned on.
Let me ask you a
Number
question
three,
about that real
mhm,
quick. What if
yeah.
someone doesn't have that memory turned on? Does it just take longer for the system to learn who you are, or will it really just almost like every time you ask a question, it's starting from the beginning almost?
Yeah, so technically, this is it's an Anthropic, the makers of Claude, are allowing you to have this option in case, or for privacy purposes. And of course, I totally understand that, some people might want this AI tool to not build a profile on them.
Yeah.
Um, in my case, and I think in many business owners' cases, I'm using this, for professional purposes, and I want it to build this profile about me.
Yes.
So if you're not toggling this on, it's not really going to be able to recall facts about you from other chats and kind of really give you better advice because it remembers something you chatted about last week, for example. So this is a really useful setting to turn on.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Number three are instructions. So if you, again, you go to settings and go to general, there's a little space where you can put instructions for Claude. And this is really like your umbrella instructions, just something simple. You can tell Claude who you are, what your business is all about, what kind of clients you work with, your goals for your business, for example, maybe how you don't want it to, or anything you wanted to avoid. Yeah, so just keeping it simple, but giving it an overview of who you are. Number four, I would create projects for the big things you're working on. So, for example, if you have three weddings you're working on, you can create three projects, one for each of those weddings. You can have a project with your brand messaging, a project for your content strategy, for example, and then you can upload context to those projects. So, files, information, background, things you've done in the past. And then every time you start a chat within one of those projects, it's going to reference that context and understand what that chat is all about.
Mm.
Finally, super important, coming back to this whole idea of using AI without losing your voice. And really co-creating with it is to start with a brain dump to create your voice DNA. So you're going to open a chat and brain dump everything. You're going to ask me clarifying questions until you understand my voice well enough to write as me. And then what Claude will do is it's going to actually interview you. So you're putting the onus on Claude for it to know what it needs from you rather than you trying to think what information you need to give it. And if we can dive deeper a bit into this, so what you can brain dump into this, for example, who you like working with, who you don't, what makes your approach, for example, as a wedding planner different, what your clients always say about you or your approach to work. What you would never say in a client email, for example. If you're another example, a wedding DJ, who do you never want to be compared to? What do clients thank you for? What kind of vibe do you create at weddings? So you can kind of brain dump all of this information and really give it as much context as you can, and then save all of that information into a document. You can copy paste it into a Google Drive or even ask Claude to put it into a document for you. That's going to be your voice DNA, and that's something you don't have to re-repeat every time to Claude. Then it's you can just give it that context by copy and pasting or adding that file to each of your projects.
Yeah. And of course, it takes time. It takes time to kind of build it, right? Naturally, just like this is a relationship almost. Like no one's going
Mhm.
to understand you the very first time or even the very first month. It's all a little bit of a let's get to know each other balance. And something I hear quite often, even in registration, some of the questions that came in were like, people say that my AI is supposed to know me so well, but my content still feels emotionally disconnected or it's
Yeah.
still not resonating the way that I want it to. And so why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I think we're getting to a level where AI is so good, but we're expecting it to work like magic. AI is not living your life. It's not living your daily experiences as a business owner. It hasn't, gone through everything you've gone through over the past, 10 years of running your business. So you can't blame it for not knowing and not putting that into your content.
Mm.
So we get this kind of disconnect where like your content is emotionally flat because it's just giving you information that it's gathering from all the, the average of all the things out there on the internet and then giving you the best answer it thinks it can give you. However, when it comes to our content as business owners, emotion and really resonating with the type of clients you're trying to land comes from specificity, lived experiences, maybe something you experienced with some wedding clients last week that you want to bring into an Instagram post, for example, that's really going to speak to the next potential couple you're going to work with. AI doesn't know that. You need to give it that information. Which is why I have a non-negotiable framework that I really like to apply whenever and whatever I'm doing with AI. that I like to call human AI human. So AI is never the start or the end of anything I'm doing with it. It's only ever in the middle. So I will, originate whatever my ideas are. Um, or you can also ask AI to give you ideas, but then you are going to bring dump your own experiences, your own opinions, your own thoughts, and stories that you have. Then what AI is great at is taking this messy, crazy brain dump, with all of the things that came to you, side thoughts, ideas. You don't have to be structured about how you're sharing the information. And it's going to shape it into something and polish it into something really structured. But then you must again go in, read everything. And if you really want to put your name to it and feel good that you're doing it and feel like I'm creating something that's really aligned with who I am as a business owner, then I personally always like to read through everything. It's really useful to speak it out loud because when you speak out loud, you can really you can really hear if things aren't authentic to how you would say them. And I'll tweak and, relentlessly cut things out or change things or rephrase things, say things that I align with a lot more. When it comes to originating, a really useful tool that I really suggest that you try out is a voice typing tool like Whisperflow, for example. It's an app that allows you to program a key on your keyboard. So you just need to hold it down and then speak, and it will use your computer's speakers to just type into AI. So instead of kind of typing really slowly every time, it genuinely makes you 10 times more productive because it's just brain dumping your quick, natural, raw, and authentic thoughts directly into AI. And that's how you come up with the best stuff. So this is a super
Yeah.
hack that it's
Which
just completely the way I work.
yeah, and I'm assuming too, like when we're typing, we're processing as we're typing. So, of
Yeah.
course, even the way we're talking to AI, I'm sure sometimes is a lot more direct, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But if you're also brain dumping just thoughts and emotions and feelings, you need it to be raw and you need it to be authentic for it to be able to fully understand and grasp at what level you're trying to. When we're
Mhm.
typing it, it's probably a lot more curated. You're missing a lot of that
Exactly.
emotion. You're getting very directive with it versus just being able to speak into something is going to be a lot more vulnerable because it's just coming right out of your mouth. The ands,
Yeah.
the ums, the uhs, the hesitation, all of it. It's the back and forth. It's at really kind of the most authentic way to communicate with it.
Exactly.
It
Yep. It's
leads me to a thought that I really think that people need to understand that when you outsource your thinking, you can't be surprised when nobody feels as connected to your brand anymore because you aren't even connected to your brand anymore. And you can't automate a human connection and then expect human results. You just
yeah,
can't. That's
that.
just not how this works at all. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like ChatGPT just agrees with me all the time, which I'm sure everyone can relate to that. And on one hand, I'm like, okay, it really knows how to make me feel smart and it really makes me feel like I'm on my game. And then my senses come back to me and I'm like, okay, clearly this is not true. But I see a section here that the fix isn't better prompts. So is there a better way that I do need to be talking to my AI to give me better information the first time? Or should I really just keep yelling at it to stop lying to me?
Yeah, absolutely. And AI has been programmed so far to agree with you and make you feel good because it wants to help you. So that's been a big issue, especially with ChatGPT, this whole sycophantic, amazing question. That's a great idea to whatever you say. They
Yeah.
have dialed it down a lot lately, and Claude is a lot less than that. But it's still there because it's just wanting to help you based on what you've asked it. So it's really important that we think of AI not just as like us delegating our thoughts to it, but using it as a thought partner instead and really asking it to push back on our ideas if necessary so that we're using it as a tool to help us do our best thinking and our most creative thinking. So, for example, you can do that in a really simple way by asking it in a prompt, here's what I'm planning, here's my plan, act as a critical thinker, question my assumptions, my logic, reveal any blind spots I might not have thought about, rather than just asking it to give you plans. You can brain dump your own plans and then ask for this kind of different perspective feedback that you wouldn't have ever had been able to have before. You can get it to help you see things from different angles and miss, like I said, hidden blind spots. You can also add this to your custom instructions. Or to any prompt. I like to be challenged in my thinking. Don't just agree with me and tell me what you think I want to hear. So it's really just being clear, but getting into this mindset that AI is a thinking tool, not like something you're going to delegate your brain to and just let it do all the thinking for you. So it's really a mindset shift that I think it is super important for us to get into so that we can retain that kind of critical aspect of ourselves as business owners as well.
Yeah, and I know it's so hard. When it made that conversational shift, as an Enneagram 2, it was actually really hard for me because now sometimes I feel like it's never with me. And it's hard
Yeah.
because you're being very vulnerable with something that's
Hmm.
giving you information or advice that your friends or your family would. So it's almost very difficult to disconnect from it and not feel like it is a real person giving
Yeah.
you this information, but it's not. And we have the brains. We are the
Yes.
people. We are the humans. Like we are in charge. And this is just a tool. And so I totally understand why it's coming off a little bit more subdued and not as happy to see me all the time. But I will admit I was a little sad. Like I was like, what have I done to you to upset you? I'm like, no,
I know
Katie,
it feels good to
gone too
have
far.
something that agrees with you all the time. Let's face it.
But on the other hand, I know that, gosh, from your angle, you're watching all of us, talk about how we've hurt our chat's feelings, and you're like, no, like that's
I know.
dysfunctional. So you see all the bad habits and you see all the dysfunction and you see the ways that the people are just not using AI the way that they're supposed to. And that's why your content is so relatable on Instagram and on TikTok. I mean, you are blowing up because you are really bringing this to a very digestible and very relatable way, and you're helping so many people right now. I would love to know, get some tea on this. What's the scariest thing that you see people doing that you really just wish that they would stop? Like, what is giving you the ultimate ick these days when you open an app and you're just like, oh, they did it again. Stop it.
Yeah, so I think there's this kind of spectrum that people are falling into when it comes to AI. And it's either, again, this kind of copy and paste from AI without engaging brain and being the editor of what it's creating for you, slapping your name on it as a business owner and just being okay with whatever that thing is creating for you. That really scares me because we are losing touch with what makes us unique in the marketplace,
Yeah,
why clients might want to work with me and not any other person in my industry. So you're kind of losing your USP and, whatever attracted people to you before AI.
yeah,
So we really want to stay away from that. It's so important. And then on the other end, I think there are people that are really, thinking AI is the enemy. It's as a business owner, it's I really don't want to use it because it's inauthentic, or I don't want it to, I don't want to lose my voice with it. And I really think we need to accept the fact that AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. In fact, it's only going to become, a more present part of our lives, especially as business owners, a million times over. And I think in this world where that demands so much of us, especially as business owners, we finally have a tool that is going to allow us to keep up, number one, be more productive, have more help, and put our best foot forward and even, increase our productivity and allow ourselves a bit of a break and a bit of like care for ourselves. So, don't reject it completely. Like it's there are bad things about any tool you might use.
Yeah.
There are many bad things about the internet, but I mean, look where we are today. So rejecting it completely is going to leave you really far behind other business owners that are leveraging AI in powerful and clever ways. So you just need to really be in this middle ground where you are really staying on top of the latest AI features that can help your business, but also just being really mindful that you're bringing as much context from who you are as a business owner, your daily experiences, again, this information that only you as a human can bring to AI, and really co-creating with AI and living in this happy middle.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the superpowers of being a small business owner is that you get to build your business on your personality, on your perspective,
Mhm.
on your uniqueness, your storytelling abilities and building that connection. You don't get to do that at a 9 to 5 building someone else's business. You don't get to do that in a corporate setting where you're a number, you're not a person, right? And that's not to say that every exception has a rule. But for the most part, that's exactly why people end up building a business in the first place, is to be able to have that superpower and have that ability and getting to make your own money and just making your own rules. And it does seem like using AI can accidentally erase what made you and your business special and worth investing in the first place. It seems like that's a
Yeah.
dangerous slippery slope.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really think, like I said, so we try and avoid this by really, yes, no, I'm actually jumping ahead into something else I was going to talk about.
That's okay. We'll clip this part. The next question is, what do you do when AI gives you something that sounds good but doesn't actually feel like you? Is there a process to the training here?
So really, it's going back to this human AI human approach. So you are the originator of the ideas and bringing, like you're saying, what makes you unique as a business owner into AI. AI can't naturally know that. You need to tell it. Using tools like Whisperflow, the voice typing app, because it allows you to bring everything that's in your mind, all of these things floating around, really into AI. Feed it as much as you can about what's going on in your day to day, letting AI do what it does, which is shaping and polishing messy things, and also giving you variations of one piece of content. So now, instead of, for example, creating one Instagram post, you can turn that Instagram post into 10 newsletter ideas that you can send out. Or, for example, you can write an email to your clients or write a blog online. So it's really just repurposing your own ideas into the different formats, which used to take so long. Now
Yeah.
we have a tool to make that easier for you to be present on more platforms or be present more consistently than you did before. And as I said, always being the final editor. So for me, it's a non-negotiable to read through every single word. And I really
Yeah.
feel like people want, the magic pill of like, how do I avoid having to read through everything that AI gives me? Because it does sound so good, and you want to just be like, that's done, let me publish it. I really feel like there's never gonna be a solution really to that. I always want to put as a business owner, my name to something I can really confidently stand by. I know exactly what's in it. I know it sounds like it's in my own voice. I know there's a lot of my own USP and voice and authenticity baked into it. So I like to read through everything again, read it out loud. If you can, it engages your brain so much more, and you can pinpoint exactly what's wrong with it a lot more easily. So that's the process I would say that you need to follow. It should be really kind of a non-negotiable if you want to really leverage AI without losing what made your business your business.
Yeah. So, what do you do when AI gives you something that sounds good? Like you're like, wow, that's awesome. I'm glad you gave me that information, but it doesn't actually feel like you.
So yeah, I think just reading through it and kind of being okay with not getting one draft and just publishing that. You need to have a conversation back and forth. It's like, having an intern or a PA or an executive assistant,
Yeah.
and expecting them to know you inside out or know what you're thinking in your mind. It has to, you have to brief that person. You're probably going to have a back and forth on the results that they've created for you. And we really need to think of AI like that. So when that first draft comes, just think, I really need to go through this and bring it closer to a result that is high quality for me rather than accepting a one and done sort of job.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that literally just happened to me yesterday. I was like, can you analyze this and just figure this out? I really need to figure out like what angle to take on this." And it sent it back and I literally said, "Go back and read it again." Like this completely missed the mark. And it
Yeah.
responded back with, "You're right. That made absolutely no sense. That was the wrong information. Let's try this again." And it got me back closer. But I said exactly that. I said, "We're getting closer.
Mhm.
Think of it this way." And then it got quicker and it got a little better and it got, a little closer to what I was hoping for. But because of seeing that process and that it didn't give me exactly what I needed the first time, it did give me the ability to take it and just say, close enough, and then finish it myself
Yeah,
and really put that personal touch into it. And it got me 70% of the way. And I'm calling
exactly.
that a win, honestly. I mean,
Yeah,
if anything can take 70% of a task I have to do and get it there, that's time I just got
precisely.
back. Like that's actually really great. And I mean, honestly, talking about authenticity and really making sure that you're staying true to yourself. If your audience could simply swap your logo with someone else's and never notice the difference between the content that you're putting out or your website or proposals that you're sending or anything like that, we have a big, big problem. So, this is very important on keeping your hands and your brain and your voice in it no matter what. Even if it
Yeah.
does spit out something that's absolutely perfect and is better than you could have ever said, dial it down a little then. Like
Mhm.
one way or
Mhm.
another, you're going to need to edit it and you're going to need to get in there and humanize it and make it you. Um, Curious, do you think that newer business owners are going to struggle to even be able to find their voice or their authentic brand story? Because so many of them now are building their entire businesses on AI from day one versus even business owners 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything that's on their website came from them and it came from their experience and their journey. Or even if you hired someone to make it for you, you still had to tell them who you are, where you've been, what you've done, and how you got to where you got to. And now a lot of business owners, that's not what's happening. They're letting AI
Yeah.
create the story for them. So what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one big shift we all have to make now that AI is so fully ingrained in our lives as business owners is we need to become a lot more observant and analytical of what's happening in our lives and become collectors and documenters of daily information. That's where the gold is now, is like how much are you remembering, collecting, and documenting so that you can feed back into AI? Because yes, it is so tempting to totally outsource your brand story, your brand voice. But how is that going to be different from 20 other business owners that are going to use AI? It's going to give them a very similar story as well if you're not bringing your own self into it. So I think that is a risk. That being said, I also think being a business owner at the very beginning is hard. So looking at my experience, for example, as a content creator over the last year, I didn't really know at the beginning kind of what I didn't have a clear vision of what my voice or messaging or positioning or my audience was. It's really a journey of discovery. And I've used AI to help me get messy ideas out there at the beginning, like without, being really in my head, overthinking and staying stuck. But then also not being okay with like just again, settling for that first iteration or that first draft. So
Yeah.
developing your brand story needs to come from your own authentic life. So becoming this kind of collector, documenter, and analyzing what's going on in your daily life where you can pull stories and kind of, experiences from. But then also being okay with the fact that even if you're not sure about things, get AI to help you, like you said, 70% of the way. And then really, it's kind of comes with experience as well. So again, I think you need to live in this happy middle. However, one thing that I found that works a lot for me is, like I said, really trying to mine my day to day and remember things that are happening, because that is what differentiates my Claude from your Claude, is like, how was my Monday to Friday? And
Yep.
that's where the golden nuggets for content live as well. It's like, if you are planning a wedding, you're at the wedding that day, something funny happened, take out your phone, use the voice typing feature and take a note of it,
Mm.
because that could become a funny story for an Instagram post, a funny story for your newsletter, something you can bring into your next proposal, for example. It's again mining these day-to-day experiences for little details and keeping note of them, things AI would never know, and then bringing them into AI so that it's really built on these weird and wonderful daily things that are happening in your business.
Oh my gosh, that is such a great tip. I'm gonna do that. Like, that's so great. I love that. And also, so true. If AI can replace your voice that easily, your brand voice wasn't clear enough yet in the first place. And
Exactly.
so, spot on, spot on. And I really want people to remember their foundation when using any tool, any process, any system. People don't book because your caption sounded grammatically perfect.
Yeah.
People don't trust perfection anymore. They trust perspective. And
Hmm.
they booked you because they felt something real and they wanted to experience that from you. That's why they booked you. And we should all be using AI to find new customers and grow our following and get in front of new vendors, new opportunities, keep ourselves reaching, keep ourselves growing, keep our business evolving, because that's what makes us more money at the end of the day. That's really
Absolutely.
the high ticket item here. So, Jess, how do we get into growing that? Where do we know how to start besides putting in a generic prompt like act like a social media manager and grow my Instagram account this month? Because I think it's true that that's how a lot of people or the majority of people are using ChatGPT or even Claude. And then they're on this call and they're listening to this because they're not getting the results that they want and it's not moving them forward. And then they're seeing this content on Instagram and on TikTok that's like, it's so easy. Just do this prompt. And they don't know how to make a prompt. They're just trying to talk to it as if they're their best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one amazing thing to keep in mind about the technology that is AI is that AI teaches you how to use AI. We've never had that before. The internet doesn't teach you how to use the internet. A calculator can't teach you how to use a calculator.
Right.
AI can literally teach you how to use AI. And every business is so unique that I don't think there is, a uh, perfect plan of like, here's exactly how to use it. It's really you figuring out and working with AI to figure out, hey, I'm doing this repetitive task every single day. How about I ask AI how it can help me to make this easier, whether that's, taking 10% of that task off your plate, or uh, completely automating it. There are also some really innovative ways to use AI beyond just creating content. For example, um, using it to mine your interactions with your clients, for example, in order to use their words that they're using with you to create better content and to write better copy on your website. So our clients' words really are the best words for us to use when we're trying to sell again to the next set of clients. So you can use AI, for example, to mine through all your emails, mine through your website, mine through your back and forths with clients, and kind of really give you a very deep understanding of phrases you can use in copy, ideas. You can also use it, for example, to get on preferred vendor lists. So let's say you can assign Claude to research the venues you're looking to work with and get it to write personalized outreach emails based on those venues' individual kind of vibes and what they're looking for, etc. So this would have taken you forever, back in the day. Trying to get featured in blogs and publications, maybe that's something, you never had time for before. So you can drop features from publications you're interested in into Claude and then get it to write you outreach messages really based on those individual publications. Again, with you bringing your authenticity and stories into this, converting more inquiries, creating, for example, using call notes. So anytime you're on a call with clients, that is a gold mine of
Mhm.
information that you can use. So record your Zoom calls, for example, with tools like Fathom or Otter. There's loads of them. You can even do it directly through Zoom now. Make sure you get a transcript of that. Feed it into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and then ask it, how can I develop this into the next proposal that I write, for example, that I send out, or how can I use this to come up with a newsletter idea? So again, mining these daily interactions and using AI tools to really do more that you couldn't do before because we all just have 24 hours in a day.
I thought of something too. We recently had conversations with people about how there's a lot of ghosting going on, right? They're having the conversations, they're sending the information, and then people are not getting back to them. And they don't know why. They don't know what part of their process is breaking down. That's another incredibly useful way. You could have a consultation, you could have a discovery call, you can get on with someone, put the transcript in and say, what am I missing? How did this sound?
Yeah.
Where is the hesitation? Where do you think that I didn't offer enough information or did I go overboard? And really being able to analyze it on a deeper level, that is incredibly useful.
Yeah, that's genius. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, so I think that's all I had
Oh,
on
great.
that one.
I just was like light bulb. I was like, I have to, just it works so well. And it is. I mean, we are going to have more ghosting. We are going to have more time between conversations with clients simply because they have more options than ever. And so, being able to really understand what your process looks like, what it feels like, how someone else hears it, and being able to fine tune it that way is amazing. So thank you for letting us stop there because I really think that that's something that's going to help. And enough doom and gloom here. I feel like we've talked a lot about not they're not cons, but we've talked a lot about the heaviness of AI. And I want to flip it because AI can be amazing and it can be fun too, and it can help with so much non-business things as well. And I'm pretty sure that we've all seen the viral prompt trends online. One example is you can put your day in the life into Claude and let it plan your future, which sounds equal parts terrifying and intriguing all at the same time. And if you haven't heard about this, basically the whole idea, the premise is part manifestation and part practical planning. So you dream big, you write down these big, crazy ideas of your ideal future life. You want to drive a Porsche, you want a mansion, you want a farm, whatever it is. And then you use that same AI session to reverse engineer your dreams and your goals to make them come true. And it creates an actual daily schedule for you to start working toward those goals. So I'd love to know, what are some of your favorite trends that you've seen and maybe you've tried that surprised you and actually worked?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to switch a bit more into the visuals now of AI. And I mentioned ChatGPT Images 2.0. They just recently released an upgrade to their image generator, which is absolutely amazing. Really, it's giving us, such an uplift, and it's taking so much of our minds as business owners because you can have an idea in your head and bring it visually to life within a few seconds. So it's absolutely amazing. One way that I've used that feature is to create carousels on Instagram. So first of all, I started by creating carousels with Claude, which you can do as well, by the way, super easy. The only thing is that I started to notice that all of the carousels being created with Claude look the same online. And I am hyper paranoid about these things. It's really what my kind of passion is about, trying to find innovative ways to use AI. So this is absolutely fine. Leverage Claude to create carousels as long as you are putting your own authentic information into it. So don't just say, give me 3 tips and create a carousel about it.
Yeah.
However, this is, like I said, a carousel that I created with Claude. And it got me to thinking when ChatGPT's new image generator came out, what could I create with it? So I input my idea and my information into it. And this is the carousel that I created with it. So as you can see, it's just a lot more unique and it would probably stand out a lot more online. It's got this kind of crazy branding idea I had in my mind, this kind of space theme. I really just wanted to have fun with this and push the boundaries and see how much it could create for me. So it can create infographics like this, for example. If you have long lists of things for your clients or a process, that you have to work with them through, why not create an infographic for it? Because it's so much easier for us to understand, complex processes visually. So yes, this is another example of bringing your own authentic voice and style into AI, but in more of a visual way instead. And then we have oh, yeah, some more fun ideas again of using, just give my slides now.
It's loading.
There we go.
Perfect.
Uh, some more ideas for using the ChatGPT visual generator again. So for example, if you want to up-level your aesthetic brand guidelines and you've got something in mind, for example, you can now explain that to ChatGPT and ask it to create your very own brand kit or aesthetic brand guidelines, which I've done here for myself just recently.
Love.
And then I've also used that to mock up sales pages or website pages or landing pages or even portfolios if you want. So once you have that kind of brand kit ready, you can explain what you want and it can mock up anything for you, which is absolutely amazing. This looks stunning. I'm not a designer. I'm a very creative person, but I have no design experience or qualifications. So I would have never been able to come up with something like this for a product of mine. So it's absolutely amazing that we all have access to this tool now. I've also used
Truly.
it to create thumbnails. This is kind of more like a YouTube style thumbnail. It has also the ability to put your own face into images now. So if you say upload your photo and say retain photorealistic facial expressions and make it as similar to the photo as possible, you can see this is an actual photo of me, rather than some weird AI generated person that doesn't look like you. And again, like I said, infographics to explain complex processes or boring things, long amounts of information. There are so many interesting things we can do now to make our clients' experiences so much more interesting and make it so much easier for them to understand how to work with us. So really bringing your ideas to life with images.
I love it. And that middle one, I mean, the minute I saw it, I instantly thought, of course, I mean, I'm being a little biased, but I instantly thought rock, paper, coin because, part of the reason why we built our system the way that we did is it's a drag and drop system. So if you create images like this in Canva or Claude or whatever tool you're making, this is what gets into your client. And I personally would love to see a proposal like the middle image versus just a static,
Yeah,
rolling document of words, and you're trying to explain creatively feelings and emotions about what you're going to deliver to somebody. And sometimes words just don't do it. And being able to give something that's fun
exactly.
and expressive and beautiful and on brand, but gives the exact same information in such a clean, broken down way. I can absolutely and hope to see some RPC members starting to do things like this and upload it into RPC because it's stunning and it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but Jerome
Yeah, it really
scrolling.
just allows you to up level.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go
It
ahead.
really
Go
just
ahead.
allows you to up level everything you're doing. It's such a great opportunity with AI to look at every stage of your client's journey and experience with you, every touch point, and just think,
Yeah.
how can I up level every single touch point, whether that be through copy or through images? You have the tools now. You don't need to be hiring, at high cost someone for absolutely everything. You can up level every touch point in a really simple, easy, and fast way.
I love it. I love it. And I think once people just get past the fear, it's the fear of the unknown. It's new. They don't think they can do it. And I think once they get past that feeling, they're going to realize that they're pretty unstoppable with the tool that they have in front of us. Um, So
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but doom scrolling is such a thing, right? Like 1 second, we're all learning a cool new trick, or I'm watching one of your reels and I'm like, ooh, yes, I do need to know how to do this. And then the next, it pops up with this funny puppy video or pranking spouses content. And I'm just like, I'm just sucked in. And 4 hours have gone by and it's dark outside and it's dinner time and my kids are like, "Where have you been?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like something happened. My phone took over." In your opinion, I mean, because you're online a lot and you are a content creator, what does healthy, strategic, smart AI usage actually look like in your brain?
Yeah, so I actually have a. So, first of all, I think there's quite a lot of facets to this answer. Smart, strategic, healthy AI usage involves definitely bringing our own experiences into it, as we've talked about plenty in this training already. Secondly, it's also using it as a thought partner, again, not just like completely delegating your entire brain into it, like retain your own problem solving, analytical, and creative abilities as a human being, especially, when we're 20 years down the line of using AI. Super important that we keep that muscle working in our brain. And then another way, for example, that I've been able to use AI before I jump into that, to really speak to what you were talking about. One tool that an AI tool I've used that has really helped me with avoiding the kind of falling into this like crazy doom scroll rabbit hole and emerging, an hour later, you've wasted time and everything. I
Yeah.
actually use a tool called Opal. It's a really cool app. I know there are alternatives as well. This is just the one I use, which keeps me focused, blocks distractions, and lets me, for example, when I have creative or focus blocks in my calendar to work on emails or content or creating proposals, whatever, I will always turn that on. You can do sessions where it kind of blocks all the distracting apps on your phone. So I have found that incredibly useful. Another thing I want to talk about is really using AI to, I was trying to find here it is. Using AI to help you push through procrastination. I don't know about everyone here, but I have struggled with procrastination and self-doubt so much. I feel like as business owners, we are constantly having to push ourselves outside our comfort zone. Everything you do as a business owner is constantly difficult, right? There is no like easy day. It's like you have to deal with a new type of client, you have to write a new type of proposal, you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and write a newsletter. Maybe you've never done that, create a new piece of content. Everything is difficult. And once I learned that there's this natural effect called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where we mentally feel super excited about something we're going to work on tomorrow, for example, you think, I am going to create a new, let's talk about, for example, the way we were saying, up leveling your proposals by sending those images in ChatGPT. And then the morning comes, you said you're going to do this, you sit down and you think, oh, I'll just scroll on my phone a little bit. Oh, I'll just do that later. I can do that tomorrow. It's so tempting, right? This kind of sitting down and coming to do something difficult and you just want to push it to the side. That held me back for so many years, really, in my business. And I realized you can use AI to get out of your own head, first of all, and help you break through this painful first 5 minutes of the task. Because once you're past those 5 minutes, you're in the flow then, and you're kind of enjoying it, and you tend to find it so much easier to just keep working on what you're working on. So definitely use AI to if there's something you're trying to accomplish, a big project or whatever, and it just feels like so scary and you're just rather doom scroll than get started with it, ask it to help you break it down into manageable 5 minute chunks. For example, what's one tiny thing I can do today to get this ball rolling, to get this project on the go?
Hmm.
It's helped me to really work this muscle where I will sit down and I won't procrastinate because I have a tool that allows me to just chunk things down, make the start so much easier, and just get through that beginning friction, that procrastination, and really just become so much more productive. I don't know if people use AI in this way, but it has changed my life to use it in this way, so I really recommend it.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship is lonely. You don't have a boss hovering over your shoulder, reminding you that something's done. You don't have a manager that you're going to have to check in with at the end of the week to make sure that something was done. You have clients that are going to end up in your inbox, and then you're going to feel bad because you're late on a deliverable, or they sent that email checking in before you could send that email letting them know what was coming up, what you were working on. And that's just a horrible feeling. Nobody loves feeling behind. And it happens. And it's oftentimes, with entrepreneurs, because, like I said, it's a lonely space, and you really do have to be in charge of your own time and in charge of your own tasks. And that is hard for a lot of people. And so I think this is great. And I mean, you do such an amazing job of educating people about using AI, but also talking, like I said, about very relatable things like procrastination and how that's not really a thing of shame anymore. So I love it, like to talk about it and talk about ways that we're all kind of struggling. And I'm dying to know because I you kind of gave us a little bit of a peek into it. What's your own personal workflow with AI right now? And like, how do you start your day and what are you using and what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take you back to, I have a slide here with some tools that I love using, my AI tool stack at the moment.
Yeah.
So we've talked plenty about Claude. I won't go back into that. Again, ChatGPT, I'm using it constantly to bring my ideas to life visually, for my business. Endless ways you can use it. Number three, I've mentioned Whisper Flow quite a few times. Voice type, switching from physical typing to voice typing has absolutely transformed my productivity and my business. We've spoken about Opal whenever you need focus and deep work. There are other apps as well that do a similar thing. I do also use automation software like Zapier or more recently Integrately because I found it so useful to look at processes I'm doing repeatedly and be able to automate those things. And it's honestly easier than you would think. AI can explain to you how to do absolutely anything. So if you think, whenever I finish a meeting, for example, with a potential new client, I want to take the transcript, upload it to this folder, and I want to have an email drafted so that I can send a follow up to those clients based on the meeting, for example. You can automate that process. How? Just ask AI. Literally brain dump what automated process you want to create, and it's going to tell you exactly how you do it. And then you use tools like Zapier, for example, to connect up different softwares and make it happen logistically. And I honestly, like, I'm not a super techie person or anything. It's really just being okay with figuring things out and having AI to just ask any question, help you figure out any software, any problem you have. If you're stuck on trying to set up some kind of software or something, you can upload screenshots of wherever you're stuck into Claude or ChatGPT and just say, I'm having this problem. I'm getting this error. Can you walk me through it? Like nothing is out of our reach as business owners now. So really just getting out of your mind and thinking, how can I make my life easier? And
I
finally,
love,
Canva.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love it you gave that example because I mean, even as a CRM, right? We aren't there to hold your hand. We set up your account, like we make it very, very easy. But even for some of our new members, they come in and they're like, okay, so how do I set up our account? Like, nope, like we're going to take this from you. This is a task we do for you. And they just can't grasp the concept that it could be that easy. And so I love what you said. If you're stuck on something, take a screenshot and put it in and say, how do I get past this screen? What am I stuck on? What is it asking for? And because honestly, sometimes the simplest things completely are so complicated in our brain. And that is such a
Yeah.
simple solution. It's like a light bulb going off. You're like, oh my gosh, I could literally have just asked someone and I have my own, tech person in my computer. But it is the most simplest things come to us last. And so I love that you gave that example because no matter how easy we try to make things, no matter how, we take away the discomfort or the blockers, common sense just sometimes leaves us and we really do make things harder than they need to be. So thank you for giving that example. I love it.
Yeah, and last of all is Canva, which I assume a lot of the people here use already. I love it so much. There are a lot of AI features inside Canva as well that are still super useful, even though I use ChatGPT a lot for image generation, just
Yeah,
because with Canva, you've got templates, but to make them work for your business, it still takes a lot of time and effort. So I'm using ChatGPT images a lot more to bring my ideas to life based on my branding. And then one great thing you can do with Canva, a very recent new AI feature they've introduced, it's called Magic Layers, and it can separate out AI generated images. So, for example, if there's a piece of text you want to change or something you want to move or delete, you can upload it into Canva, use Magic Layers, a new AI feature, and make editable AI graphics, which is absolutely amazing.
that is so great. Yes. Yeah, because that is a challenge. Obviously, you're making something in one tool, then you're trying to move it over to another or try to add to it. And then again, we're overcomplicating things. And you're like, this is why I'm not using these tools. And so don't overcomplicate
Yeah.
it. They now work together, which is nice. And so I love that. That's amazing. I'm curious, what's one thing you would never let AI fully take over in your business?
So one hard stop for me definitely is AI video avatars. I don't know if you've seen these. You can now basically generate an AI avatar video of yourself, and it kind of genuinely really looks and sounds like you.
Yeah.
It's not 100% there yet. You can tell something's wrong with them, but I mean, in a year's time, it's going to be indistinguishable.
Yeah.
For me, that's definitely where I draw the line because I feel like in this new AI world, what we are craving more than ever is human connection, is authenticity, especially when it comes to businesses. And I've seen businesses using these AI avatars, and the comments they get back aren't great because people just feel like people can't connect with AI in the same way they can connect with you as the face behind the business with your own stories, your own style, your own character, how you make people feel, and that's just something AI is never going to be able to do. So for me personally, it's something that I'm seeing more and more online, and it's definitely a boundary for me that I wouldn't cross.
Yeah, and I think that it really is, we tell people keep evolving, do the things like to keep up with the newest thing for your business to be able to keep, but there are certain things that you need to put boundaries and limitations on. And it goes back to staying human and keeping that human aspect and what people are paying for. They're paying for a human to do something for them, a service, to provide a service. They're not
Yeah,
hiring a robot to perform this service. They're actually paying a human. So I think it goes back to like don't give it all over. Like you can't give everything over to AI and to
exactly.
even just tech, right? Before AI, before this conversation, we were having the same conversation about, your CRM and your email automations and making sure that when you send an email to somebody, right? I mean, all of these tools have been coming very slowly for a long time. We're just in very different versions of them. And so, going back to that whole thing, I'd love to know, it is really hard to stay innovative and creative and keep things moving in a world where everyone has access to the same tools and they're all kind of using the same prompts and they're all doing that because people can feel when content is generated instead of lived. And it is something to be aware of. So, where do you find inspiration outside of AI? Like, where do you find inspiration for your things to be able to keep this muscle working?
Yeah, so I definitely think it's again becoming, we need to do this more and more. Analytical of your own life, your day-to-day experiences, remembering to record things from what's happening in your day-to-day, saving those things. I feel like, we're all living at a million miles an hour and just not even realizing what's happening around us. So I really try to document what's happening in my day to day as a business owner. And then what's really, really interesting, which I love, is that if you take 5 minutes at the end of your day, for example, to just voice type a note about what happened in your day into your notes app. Again, you can use the voice typing feature. So you can do this while you're driving back home even or doing chores or whatever. What went well with your day? What went badly with your day? Where did you get stuck? What did you feel needs improving? Just like voice dump everything that happened. And then at the end of the month, you can copy and paste that note from your notes app in your phone over into Claude or ChatGPT and get it to give you an analysis of. Can you still hear me? It's gone a bit
Yeah.
get it to give you an analysis of your month and give you themes, for example. Where do you need to improve? Where do you need to dedicate more attention? What's really holding your business back? Because if you sat down at the end of the month and try to remember all those things, you would never remember. So now you can become the person who documents those things really quickly on the fly every day. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the month, take that wealth of information, dump it into AI, and let it do what it does best, which is analysis, pattern finding, and giving you ideas, really being your own business consultant, business strategist, coach. So that's an awesome way that I have loved using AI, doing this end of the month review with all these little voice notes or notes that I've left in my phone throughout the month.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to sit in this for a minute because I feel like this is like the good stuff that everyone came for. I want to talk about the new tools or the new versions of things that are launching because right now it feels like every week there's a new version announcement of like anything that's coming out at any time. And, now we're hearing, oh, you've got this one, it links to this, it links to this, it does all the things. So we've heard about, Canva being able to use that with Claude and ChatGPT, and that's amazing. But what else? What other AI tools do you put together? And it's kind of created a little bit of like life hacks for you that people aren't thinking about yet.
So I really, yeah, so I just genuinely think if you try to keep up with everything, you are going to drive yourself nuts because
Yeah.
even me with my job being trying to keep up with AI news, it's just so overwhelming. I can't keep up with it. There's too much. So I really think go back to fundamentals. Choose one tool you are really going to master, for example, whether that's Claude or ChatGPT, whatever. I would suggest one of those two. And then really find ways to integrate simple tools like your notes app on your phone, for example, and then how do you bring that information into AI? So yeah, just keep it simple. Yes, stay on top of what's happening. Don't try and use absolutely everything. Really find the fundamental processes in your business, what you can delegate to AI, what you as a business owner need to mine, collect, and document from your day-to-day life. and anything that you can, yeah, so staying on top of the tool you're mastering, collecting information from your day-to-day life using very simple tools like the Notes app in your phone. And then finally, if you're trying to automate and connect processes, there are plenty of tools you can use, like Zapier, Integrately, Make.com, for example. And these all just connect different softwares to help you develop slightly more complex automated processes. Um, so yeah, again, if you need to figure things out, you've got the ultimate coach that knows all answers
Yeah.
and can solve any tech problem you have. Anywhere you're stuck, you can always ask AI. I see so many people, for example, asking in Facebook groups or, waiting for an answer. Like, we really don't need to do that anymore. You have 24/7 immediate tailored answers to your issue, whatever the issue is. And then finally, if you are using Claude Co-work, which is accessible only through the desktop app. It's a really simple way of automating tasks in your businesses. There's so much you can do with it. It's really simple to use. You don't need anything else. Claude Co-work. The power of it is that you can connect it to other simple tools in your business, like your calendar, your emails, whatever that might be, and create scheduled tasks. So little things that all add up when you're automating them. One example I want to give of this is actually something I've been doing to start my mornings. I start my morning with a curated morning magazine or morning briefing, whatever you want to call it, where I have a scheduled task inside Claude Co-work. Like I said, so there's Claude Chat, Claude Co-work, and Claude Code. Claude Chat, as we talked about, is the back and forth normal chat. Claude Co-work is the simple way to automate tasks for us non-super techie people. And it allows you to just explain what you want and create a scheduled task for that thing. For me, at 10 a.m. every morning, it goes out and researches publications that I'm interested in. For me, it's AI, current affairs, women in work, topics, pop culture even, because I want a bit of fun news to start my day. And then I get it to curate a magazine for me. And we can even take this to the next level. It's not just news. You can also really turn it into a morning briefing for yourself where you're connecting your calendar, your mail, your Slack or Teams, whatever you use, your Google Drive, your Notion, ClickUp, Asana, whatever other tools you might use to manage tasks, for example, and projects. Connect all of those into it. And then that morning briefing can literally pull in an overview of your entire day. So you can sit down with your coffee in the morning. You've got all the curated news in your magazine. You've got what's going on in your day from your calendar. You've got any urgent emails that need you to reply because it's pulling information from your inbox. You've got maybe vendors you need to follow up with, timelines you need reminding about. You can ask it to give you 3 content ideas for that day, anything. I mean, it's endless. You can customize it however you want. Just this idea of using co-work and connecting all your tools to create a daily automated morning briefing for yourself.
Yeah, I have a friend who does this every morning, and she calls it her morning brew. And she just sits
Love it.
down with her coffee and just has this whole amazing, experience for herself. It truly is. It's a curated experience for herself. And she gets the information that she knows isn't going to surprise her or shock her, right? You're not just like blindly opening the news and like hoping for something that feels good. You're getting everything that feels good. You're starting your day just the way that you want to. She's being able to see everything that's right in front of her, how to prep, what she needs. And I'm just like, what a lovely way to start your day. Like, you just really get this curated, made for you. This is how you're choosing to start your morning. And it even has like a little stretch session for her where she's like, okay, like now get up, do some breath work, do these stretches, your activity. She has it like hooked up to
And
a health app that she has. So it's like yesterday was a stressful day for you. Let's start your day with these stretches. Let's end your day with these stretches. And I'm like, this is
brilliant.
exactly like who we want, like in our life. Like this is the bestie that shows up, right? And just like gives you everything you want. So I love it. I love it. Okay, I have a question. If you could only, and this may be an unfair question, but if you could only make one more reel tomorrow before having to archive your account and never post again, I mean, I'm sure the thought of that is scary, but what would your five favorite tips or tricks or prompts, whatever you can think of, be that you would want to leave with everyone before you signed off for good?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one big thing we mentioned briefly earlier in this training, that is a total game changer. It's the simplest five words you can add to any prompt you're asking AI. Ask me clarifying questions, four words. Ask me clarifying questions. So, you are putting the onus of thinking through what information is needed to make your task work onto AI instead of you thinking, what does it need from me to ask me clarifying questions to help me, put this plan together, for example, and AI is going to interview you. So I love getting AI to interview me and tell me what it needs from me in order for it to work for me. Number two would be definitely the thinking partner approach. So we mentioned some prompt ideas you can use. Here's my plan. Can you give me any what am I missing? What am I not thinking of? How is this biased in some way or another? Blind spots I'm missing. As business owners, like we have access to this incredible tool that's helping us to think in analytical and strategic ways we couldn't before. And tip number three would be I had one in my mind and it's just yes. The breaking down big tasks into breaking down massive projects that make your brain hurt down into like 5 minute tasks. What is one thing I can do right now to get the ball rolling on this project that has absolutely changed my life and got me to just be so much more productive instead of sitting there like racking my brain trying to think how can I start this huge, overwhelming, boring thing that I have to do. Um, I, those are the three I can think of. I know you asked for five, but those are five. Those are three things that I use literally every day with AI, and I feel like they're just such a game changer.
Look, and I proved I did not create that question with ChatGPT or Claude because my question was five, not seven. So that was a genuine,
Yeah,
authentic question.
exactly.
Oh, my friend. Okay, this was so good. I don't know how and why our time is almost over, but it makes me sad because I really think like we just touched the surface. Like we just touched the surface. And before we move into Q&A, I really want people to walk away from today understanding this. AI is not the problem. The problem is when we stop thinking for ourselves and stop sounding like humans. And I know we touched on that so much today. We could do a drinking game on how many times did Katie say the word human today? Like, we really, really touched on that today. And we've been through this before. I've had this conversation with people recently. We have been here before. Before AI, it was the launch of social media, and it was this fixation of creating perfectly polished captions and taking pictures of everything. Like it was just this obsession. But as we all know, our business was never built on perfectly polished captions or the best taco pictures that you took before you eat it, right? It's built on you sharing what makes you amazing and worthy of being a part of someone's experience to be hired for it. It was built on trust. It was built on perspective and experience, emotion, connection. And people don't trust perfection anymore, remember? Okay? They trust perspective because we are people and we are asking other people to spend their hard earned money, especially right now, on hiring our business over someone else's. So please, I want you to take that with you today and all the amazing tips that Jess gave you. And so before we head into the Q&A, I actually want everyone to know that's listening to this that they're now realizing how much they all need to follow you on the daily and soak up all of your information and put you in the morning brew of What's Jess's last post? Please, like, give me a summary of Jess's last post and what I need to learn from her. So, where can everyone continue learning from you? Let everyone know where they can follow you, how to work with you, and how they can binge your content instead of Netflix tonight, and all the things.
Yeah, absolutely. So my handle on all social media is the Limitless Jess. We will send out links to everything with the replay to this. So the Limitless Jess, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm also on Substack, and I have a newsletter as well that I send out every week, just sharing behind the scenes of how I'm building my business using AI without losing myself and my voice, and all these fun
Amazing.
little hacks that I kind of discover every week. I have a freebie that we're going to link to this replay, which is the Ultimate Claude Toolkit. So if you've been wanting to maybe move from ChatGPT to Claude and you're like, where do I even start? It's just a really cool guide of an overview of all the really important features you need to know about Claude. And then we'll also link a guide called Voice Match that I have that helps you to set up Claude Cowork. We talked about Claude Cowork, how it can automate your tasks in your day to day. There's a process for setting it up to sound like you. So you're feeding it as much information. It works a bit differently to Claude Chat so that the results it's giving you are a lot closer to that 70%, as you said, 70, 80%, instead of you having to spend lots of time re-explaining or correcting AI outputs you're not super happy with. So we'll link all of those.
I love it. And yes, as she mentioned, so this replay will get sent out. It'll be in your inboxes. Links to everything will be in there so you can jump in, start working. That's a huge gift. Thank you so much for contributing those guides. It's gonna, I just know like this entire conversation felt very real and like a friend telling another friend how to do things. And so I know those guides are going to be so helpful for everyone. So thank you so much for that. Okay, should we answer a few of these Q&A questions that came in? Because
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
really good. Okay. Yes, drinking game. We're still doing the drinking game. Okay. As a business owner with ADHD, AI has helped me organize my thoughts so much. How do I keep using it without crossing into overdependence?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're all having to really mind ourselves when it comes to that. We've talked a lot about that on this session. I have read so much about how AI is super helpful even more to business owners with ADHD. So this is a tool you've been given that is helping you to meet the demands of not just life, but also life as a business owner. So I would say be kind to yourself, make the most of it wherever you can, just keeping those boundaries that we talked about. So making sure you are feeding it as much of your authentic ideas, life perspective, POVs, experiences, etc., as possible. Using it, really trying to retain that analytical, strategic, creative, problem-solving. Muscle in your mind. One really good way to do this, I find, is to have like a little no AI exercise every day where you set like a 10-minute timer, for example. Ideally, pen and paper. I feel like just
Hmm.
putting pen to paper is like something we don't do so much anymore, but it is
Yeah.
so it just helps you to get your thoughts flowing, just brain dump whatever in there. It doesn't matter what it's about. Pick a topic and write about it, or maybe write about your day, but just really keeping this kind of no AI muscle going in your brain every single day. And then outside of that, leverage AI, use it. It's making our lives easier. It is so incredibly powerful, and definitely, you know, give yourself a break and make the most of it
I love
while also
that.
retaining those boundaries as well.
Yeah, go back to journaling, like pen to
Journaling,
paper,
exactly.
journaling. Just go back. Love that. Okay, how do I know if I'm using AI as a helpful tool or as a crutch because I'm burned out and I don't know what else to write?
Yes, so I find that it's okay to use it in that way. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Like again, we need to be kind to ourselves. Running a business is so incredibly demanding. You need to be like a creativity machine and an idea machine. And some days your brain just isn't playing along and
And
you
a
need to
mom
come up
and
with
a
ideas.
wife
Well, now
and
we
a
have
dog. Like,
applications.
owner
Exactly, not
and
to
like,
mention. We finally have a tool to solve that issue where you're like having to be constantly on the creativity, ideas, and problem solving machine. I really think, again, retaining this ability to give yourself maybe 10 minutes before you dive into using AI to freely just write. Doesn't have to be pen to paper. Pen to paper is cool. Just write your thoughts so that you are engaging and keeping that muscle going in yourself before you then go and make your life super easy with AI. So you're, keeping that part of your brain active while still leveraging AI.
yeah, that makes sense. I've basically been using ChatGPT to write my entire Instagram lately. I don't really see growth yet, but maybe I'm just doing it wrong. What do I do now? Well, first of all, keep
Yes,
going. Don't quit. Keep
yes,
going.
yes, absolutely. I have had, times when my social media has been really dead and I just the thing is to persevere because out of the blue the one post or video you put the least amount of thought, effort and time into is the one that always blows up, genuinely. It's happened every time for me. One way that I found AI incredibly useful for growing my Instagram account, so I've had like my Instagram is kind of blown up over the last few months using this. You do need to, I'm speaking specifically about Instagram in this instance, and you do need to have 1,000 followers to have access to this feature, but you can still use AI in this way if you don't have trial reels, specifically trial reels. So grab an idea you've got for a post, and then use AI to repackage it in lots of different ways, using different hooks, using different angles, and post all of those variations into trial reels. No one is seeing them from your profile because you just don't know which one is going to work. So sometimes, for example, I will post the same idea in like 10 different videos with different hooks. And it's just like always the most random hook that works. You just can't really predict it. And it's really helped my account to grow and helped me to understand more about what kind of hooks work. So, trial reels plus AI to create more variations has been a game changer for me on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay, last one here. I use Canva and ChatGPT tools constantly now, and I'm realizing all my branding is starting to feel very templated. How do I avoid that?
I mean, I I definitely think it's going to be a bit of a constant battle and it's a give and take situation. So what you are getting in time saving, you're going to have to kind of give in maybe, tailored, customized, authentic, individual. If you were working with a graphic designer and or maybe that's not something you have the budget for at the moment,
Yeah.
then there's just a bit of give and take with AI. I definitely think with ChatGPT, you can images, you can really explain exactly what you're envisioning in your mind and generate, something really unique and special, a bit like I showed you with that carousel. Totally different to anything out there. So again, it's using whatever unique ideas you've got in your mind and then leveraging AI as the tool to make it happen. But yes, to some extent, we are going to see that more and more. And it's just a case of keeping our ideas flowing into AI to keep things original.
Well, and look, to be honest, there's only so many colors, so many fonts, so many images. Like, there's going to be crossover. Like, there's so many businesses now. It's like
Yeah,
you're not the only florist that's going to use the same font and have the same brand and, be able to do that. So, seeing that, knowing that you're feeling that and seeing that is actually a really important thing. So, now that you're equipped with that information, again, here's some homework. Go ahead and take that and put that into ChatGPT or Claude and say, here's my problem. I'm
yeah.
starting to see, and then see if it can come up with some different brand variations for you now, or some different color combinations that you haven't thought of before, and see if that kind of gets creativity flowing a little bit. So I learned that from Jess
Very.
about an hour ago. See, it
There
works.
we go.
I love it. Well, Jess, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. You really brought the education. And like I said, this is not a session for you to just like put it on and listen to while you're working out. This is a session that everyone is going to come back to time and time again. It was heavy on the education, it was heavy on the tips. very heavy on the visuals, which we creatives need. That's exactly how our brains work. So it was a lot of work for you to put together, and I really cannot appreciate and tell you my appreciation more that thank you for being here. Truly. And to
Thank you
everyone,
so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
yay! To everyone listening, thank you for being here and leaning in to do the hard work. AI can absolutely help move you faster. It can organize ideas and brainstorm and support, but it should only amplify your voice. It should never, ever replace it. So, the businesses that are going to stand out in the next few years are not the ones that are creating the most content and putting them out more often. It's the ones that people still feel connected to. And that is the biggest difference. Just because AI can write it doesn't mean that your audience is going to feel it. And their businesses are winning right now. They're not the loudest, they're the ones that are the most believable. So please take that with you today and join us next month for another RPC Money Talks where we are diving into meta ads and all things ads because that has absolutely been the biggest request for people asking us besides AI training and ChatGPT and Claude training has been what do we do about ads? So we are going to dive into that. Very, very excited. Look for that invitation to be in the replay link, and all of Jess's amazing guides will also be in there. So you will have that popping into your inbox very, very soon. So thanks again for joining us. Jess, thank you for your time. You are invaluable.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.